Hey guys, Sandra here from Carcraft Auto Detailing in Melbourne. I'm going to start by saying that I do perhaps have a problem saying no when it comes to buying and testing new detailing products, as the anticipation and excitement of what this new product could potentially mean is a high in my world. I know that may seem sad or weird to many people out there, but really, who cares? Now, I'm also going to be honest in saying that perhaps 90% of the time, the products that I test are more or less fine, in that they aren't all that bad, but really nothing special either. Another small percentage of products that I test actually turn out to be quite horrible for various reasons, such as their effectiveness, user-friendliness, and price or value. But the real reason that keeps me excited and always wanting to test and experiment with new products is the last and smallest percentage of all products that I try. These are products that surpass my expectations, surprise me in a positive way, and activate that kid inside me that is so excited that he can barely contain himself. And that's what's led me to just having to make this product video review. PolishAngel, to put it quite simply, is an expensive car care brand. And for those of you who have seen some of my past videos, you'll know that I have reviewed a couple of their products, which I did honestly like, but wasn't sold on their value. Now, if a product is truly great, a high cost can actually still mean that it is great value. And that finally brings me to PolishAngel's Master Compound. Now, this isn't a brand new product, as it's been around for a few years now, but it has recently updated its formula to create a little more cut than it had previously. Straight off the bat, I'll start by saying that this is one of the more expensive compounds out on the market, coming in at about $75 for a half litre, which is more or less twice the price of what I pay for most of my compounds and polishes. But if you compare it to the huge range of products that PolishAngel provides, it's actually one of the brand's cheaper products. And there are a few other brands out there that are charging just as much for their compounds. I also have to say that PolishAngel can be quite a confusing product line to distinguish what each of their products really are in relation to what they contain and when and where they should be used, especially when taking into consideration the huge variety of products that they offer. It really does take a bit of time to investigate and start to understand how their lineup of compounds, polishes, sealant and waxes, and cleaning and preparation products work, and how to distinguish between them. And that in itself can be quite a challenge. But a little time taken to understand, test, and experiment with the brand's more unique approach could possibly present some great benefits to anyone's detailing work in the long run. Whether I believe or not that some of their range is good value for money, I don't think that there is much denying that, cost aside, they do make some fantastic and unique products that I've been more and more testing thoroughly. However, PolishAngel Master Compound, in my opinion and experience, is one of the brand's products that is just so fantastic that it does justify its premium price. Now, PolishAngel's basic description aside, I'm going to try and explain where I feel this compound sits and some of its characteristics, but that in itself is a little difficult, as there is no compound or polish out there that I feel is a direct competitor or can be directly compared in its performance and characteristics. Predominantly, I would call Master Compound a one-step compound or polish, for the fact that it's just such an extremely versatile compound that can tackle sanding marks as coarse as 1500 grit, yet still polish down to an amazingly fine high gloss finish on a variety of paints, using a variety of pads and machines. And that to me is the real definition of a one-step polish. However, when it's placed side by side with some of my favourite one-step compounds like Scholl Concepts S20 Black and Ruper's UHS Fast Gloss, it really does perform at quite a different level. But understanding Master Compound's makeup and characteristics is vital in obtaining its maximum performance, which I'll get into a touch later. When working on most paints, Master Compound isn't going to initially cut quite to the level of a dedicated coarser compound such as Scholl S2 or Maguire's 101, nor is it going to initially finish down quite as fine as something like Scholl S40 or Manzerna SF3500. But trust me when I tell you that it isn't all that far off. And once you begin to understand how to extract the peak performance out of it, You may actually find that both its cut and finish can be tweaked to match almost any compound out there. And that is only a small part of what is just so exciting and unique about it. In fact, compared to what I believe to be two of the industry-leading one-step polishers, such as Scholl S20 Black and Ribes UHS, it actually bridges that gap even more so than those two fantastic one-step compounds. Now, I don't think I've been shy in the past about communicating my love in particular for Scholl S20 Black, with its long working times, low dusting and fantastic results, especially when working on soft to medium paints. Whereas Ribes UHS has been more of a winner for me on mid to harder paints. So it's really a huge thing in my world to discover and share a compound that can in many circumstances generally outperform just about anything else I've used in the past. So let me explain why. First is cut or defect correcting ability. There is really no doubting how more impressive its cut is. Perhaps something like 50% better than S20 and a good 25% or so better than UHS, which is huge when you secondly consider that the finish that Master Compound produces is almost as good as S20. So when you add up the potential time it could save you in both cutting out defects and finishing paint to a high clarity level, you can begin to appreciate how much time saving and cost effective Master Compound could potentially be. I've discussed polishing abrasives in the past, how generally there are two main types, which are firstly SMAT, that stands for Super Micro Abrasive Technology, and secondly is DAT, which is Diminishing Abrasive Technology. Master Compound actually uses a combination of these two different abrasives in its chemistry. And although that's not unique to just Master Compound alone, what is unique and so impressive is the level in which this combined abrasive technology has been so well tuned and tweaked, together with a few other points that I'll get into in a minute, that have made this Master Compound live up to its name. The next thing about Master Compound that is just mind-blowing is its workability or work time. You may not believe it when I say it, but it is truly endless, which isn't something that can be said about many, if any, compounds or polishers out there. As I've never used a compound that can be worked for so long and just keep on working without any issues. Now, being a partly DAT product, you will see its cut be reduced the longer you work it, but the finer SMAT particles will keep on working as long as your arms can hold the machine. Try this with just about any other compound or polish on the market, and you're in for a list of issues and problems. The biggest of which is dusting, but also issues like the product clumping and gunking up on both the pad and the car panel. But most importantly, most other compounds will just lose their effectiveness when you've overworked them, which is something I've yet to experience with Master Compound. Again, it may be something that you need to experience for yourself, but believe me when I say that I couldn't make Master Compound dust or gunk up even when I tried. So you're a better person than me if you can. Although this is a great bonus and advantage of Master Compound, it's actually importantly how this compound needs to be approached. Going back to the abrasive technology I discussed, it really does take more time to break down those coarser DAT particles. So what this means is that the larger, more aggressive abrasives will keep on cutting for an exceptionally long period. And at the same time, you do generally need to work Master Compound twice as long as most other compounds to ensure the coarser DAT particles fully break down so that you can then achieve the amazing superfine finish that the smaller SMAT abrasives will give you. But unlike most other compounds that you would generally work for 3 to 4 row passes on your machine, you really need to double that to more like 6 to 8 row passes at minimum. But as I said, you can really go for as long as you like or see the benefit of that in your results. Now let me explain what this really means from both a practical and theoretical stance. I stated before that Master Compound won't initially cut as much as some dedicated coarser compounds, but it will actually continue to cut for a longer period due to its slower diminishing abrasives, which are less coarse but maintain their structure for longer. And when you compare it to some other coarser compounds with non-diminishing abrasives, it will still give you a much longer work time due to its increased lubrication that'll see most other compounds dust like crazy and gunk up. Another major issue with many compounds out there, especially if worked for too long, is a hard, sticky wipe-off. So brace yourself when I say that the wipe-off of master compound is about as good as it gets. In fact, it's a real pleasure and just so effortless. This comes down to the increased lubrication that I mentioned, which lends itself to many more benefits. So as well as dramatically increasing your work time and preventing dusting, it really seems to reduce heat and also prevent that hard, stubborn wipe-off that is many times a result of generating too much heat on the panel. Now overall, these issues aren't a huge problem when working with finer polishers, but I've never used a compound that can cut to this level and yet provide such an ease of use that is really only found in finishing polishers. And that in itself is a remarkable achievement and something that needs to be highlighted and praised, as I don't think any other manufacturer has been able to achieve this on any similar cutting compounds. One point that I also need to emphasize is the versatility or massive range in cutting to finishing that this compound can achieve. Use it with a coarser, more aggressive wool or foam cutting pad, and I guarantee that you will be impressed at just how much cut and defect removal you can achieve, yet still polish down to an amazing finish. And switch to a less aggressive polishing pad and you will see how flawlessly it finishes on almost any paint type. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only product you'll ever need, as there has been instances where other compounds have given me a better cut that I was looking for, as well as other polishers that have produced a better finish on a particular paint. But that is always going to be the case, as no one product has it all, and performing a one-step correction in most circumstances is never going to match what 2 or more stages of paint correction can potentially produce. But this is really more about how you can extend its one-step abilities to extract both more cut and a finer finish that, as many of you will know, needs to be tuned to address both the paint type and the existing level of defects. But what I can confidently say is that if I had to carry only one compound or polish in my arsenal of products, Master Compound has made it an easy choice. But there is still more. For those of you out there that like or prefer working with microfiber pads, this is the compound you've been waiting for. As much as it works brilliantly with so many different wool and foam pads, microfiber is where Master Compound really shines, at least in my opinion. The biggest issue for me personally when using microfiber pads is the excessive heat, residue control, pad gunking and quality of finish. But I use microfiber pads so often for the huge efficiency and increased leveling ability. So what if I was to tell you the Master Compound seems to slow down or at least prolong the heating effect that microfiber generates, and that you could potentially go twice as long with one pad before it gunks up and needs to go in the wash pile, as it also seems to clean and blow out with compressed air much easier than most other compounds. You'll notice that its consistency is much more watery and thin than your average compound, and its feel and texture is also less oily than you would expect to find in such a product. And this again is what reduces the build-up, or more so, allows it to be blown out of the pad much better, which also reduces the amount of pads you need to use and seems to extend their life by reducing wear and tear. Add the fact that the finish it produces with microfiber cutting pads is about as good as any compound I've used to date, and I really hope you're beginning to understand what an amazing all-round product this really is. But just like any detailing product out there, a lot of what I said about Master Compound and the amazing results you could potentially achieve is always going to be largely dependent on your personal techniques, methods and abilities, as well as what you personally believe is most important in a compound or polish. This is why we all have different products that we personally favour. I'm not going to presume that PolishAngel's Master Compound is going to be everyone's favourite product, or that its price is suited to everyone. But as a professional, the most expensive thing of all is time, and any product that can reduce my time on a job generally pays for itself. So I'm going to go out on a limb by saying that I just can't imagine any detailer or enthusiast trying this product and not loving or at least respecting and appreciating it. A massive part in truly evaluating a compound such as this is to appreciate that it is a little innovative and different, and as such it may need a slightly new approach with some testing and knowledge to fully extract its full potential, or you may never really experience all it can offer. So I do hope that this video can help some of you out there who have used or are planning on giving Master Compound a go. I'll lastly add that, as I mentioned earlier on, I have been using quite a few PolishAngel products lately, and I'm really keen on doing another video soon that looks at a combination of their products that I've been using that has been producing some of the best and most amazing results I've ever achieved to date. But hopefully some more on that soon. I really hope you guys found this video useful. Please like, comment and subscribe to show your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.